Hi everybody, I'm Dan Joseph with MRC-TV. Now this has been one of the most exciting and unpredictable political cycles in modern history. Really none of the political experts or pundits can predict anything with any certainty. Now today we're going to have a little fun, and we have a professional psychic in the studio with us. His name is Bob Hickman. He's quickly becoming one of the premier political psychics in the country. Yes, there is such a thing. It is a growing industry, I think. Bob, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you, Dan.
Now, today we're going to talk to you a little bit about politics. Now, I know not everybody takes psychics seriously. I'm sure you understand that.
Sure, of course.
But, you know, the pundits, like I said, have gotten so many things so wrong that, I mean, I can't imagine. And you actually made a prediction back in March with IJ Review, and you correctly predicted something about Scott Walker. You said that Scott Walker was going to have trouble coming up. Yeah. Sure enough, Scott Walker soon after that dropped out of the race. So you got that right, and I don't think any of the political pundits saw that coming. So today we're going to ask you a few questions, and we're going to see what you think is in the future for the candidates and for really the future of our country in the political process in the upcoming election. Okay, so the first thing, I think one of the things that threw everybody the most was the extraordinary meteoric rise of Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even think your psychic abilities are strong enough to have predicted what was going to happen with that. Unless I'm wrong.
Well, you know, I have to tell you, can I jump in on that point?
Absolutely.
Because, you know, back when I first did the readings on the candidates with IJ Review, I kept saying, I see dark horses rising. Now, at the time, I couldn't see who they were. That's true. But, you know, when Donald Trump appeared on the scene, it made sense to me.
The eye here. Can we see it?
Sure. Oops, it's under my, yeah.
No, what is this? This is
the all-seeing eye. This is the eye of, it's like the eye of the spirit. Okay. And so, you know, I wear that when I focus in. It helps me to focus.
But it's all-seeing.
Yes, it's the all-seeing eye.
But you can't see everything.
Well, maybe not everything.
It's not
but
like,
we see a good amount. We see what we can see.
It's not like the eye of Sauron. It's not evil or anything.
No, it's not evil. No,
okay, good. It's a good eye.
This is actually a protecting eye. It protects you from evil, and it helps you see the path ahead.
Excellent. All right, good. Well, we're glad you have that with you. Next question. Jeb Bush seems very depressed. He seems like he has a very dark aura about him recently. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, you know, I said it before, and I really have to say it. I feel as if there are people around him that are holding him back. I think he has a bigger vision. I think he has a more dynamic presence, but I feel like the advisors are stopping him, and I feel like he is not communicating his vision as well as he could. And I think that's creating a sense of lethargy.
What do you think he's going to be? What do you think he's going to do? What do you predict he's going to do to try to get out of that funk he's in?
Well, I think we're going to see some staff changes around him.
You think so?
I think so. It may not make the news, but in the background, I think we'll be seeing
secretive staff
kind of
changes.
Some things, and I think he's going to kind of break out of his shackles.
You think so?
I do. I think he's going to start to become much more prominent here in the final leg of the race.
Interesting stuff. Well, I think a lot of people would be very surprised if that happens, because a lot of people have left him for dead.
Yeah. Well, I think we might be surprised. Yeah.
In the next debate, will Donald Trump say something crazy? You know what? No, we all know you. We don't need a psychic to know that.
The eye even says that. Yes.
To know. Forget about that question. How about this one? Would you say that Donald Trump has perhaps some psychic ability of his own to dominate so much and to read and tell people what they want to hear?
I don't know if it's so much psychic ability as that it's kind of part of his life theme. He came in with a bigger than life energy, even since he was a child. It's just part of his karma. And I think that he's taking advantage of his natural gifts. He's very much a performer. One of his life themes is a performer.
That's true. He is. I mean, I think Donald Trump scares a lot of people anyway, but him with psychic abilities would probably scare people even more. I'm not sure if we could handle that kind of presidency. Let's talk a little bit about the Democrats.
Yeah.
Because there hasn't really been as big of a race on the Democratic side thus far. Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Been around for so long. Her husband, Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Is he being faithful to his wife?
Absolutely.
You think so? Absolutely.
He is, yeah.
Because a lot of people have questioned that. A lot of people have questioned fidelity.
But that was his younger years. He's matured, and I don't see that.
And he's had some heart problems, so it might not be physically possible for him
That's possible.
Okay. Why is Martin O'Malley still in this race, and what is his mindset?
You know what? I think that he feels that he has a chance, but I'm not sure.
That's not true.
Yeah, I don't think that that's the truth, but I'm saying he feels that. And I think that the reason why he's involved is because he wants to just stir the pot.
Okay, so he's a pot stirrer. But
stirrer.
I mean, he's not really stirring much up.
No, but anybody who's in the mix is going to create some drama.
Okay. Bernie Sanders is really one of the most interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
fascinating.
as a psychic, he must fascinate you.
Yeah, he is absolutely interesting.
What do you think about his aura? What do you think about his ability? Not really as a candidate, but just his connection.
Yeah, as a person, I think he's what we call an old soul. That means that
he's an old guy too.
Well, that's true. Beyond that, though, his soul inside has traveled a lot of lifetimes.
Okay. Oh.
And I feel that he brings a lot of wisdom into whatever he does, politics aside, even just in life. And I think that his interest in working in this comes from a very altruistic place.
You just mentioned something that's really interesting: lifetimes, past lifetimes.
Yeah.
Have all these candidates had past lifetimes?
Oh, everybody's had past lives.
Do you know of some of the?
Yeah.
Okay, well let me ask you. Let's talk about Donald Trump, past lifetime.
Yeah. Well, his former life was actually in the 1920s, and he was actually, interestingly, a banker during that period.
That makes sense.
And he died. Unfortunately, though, in that lifetime, he committed suicide during the crash.
Oh.
So, he cut his life short. He came back realizing this time he's not going to be so foolish.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a relief. We don't want another, big market crash.
No.
Jeb Bush.
Jeb Bush, he had a former life as a Native American. He has an Indian spirit in him. And it was in the 1800s, and he was part of the Apache tribe.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. What about Marco Rubio?
Rubio's interesting. He had actually a former life as a Catholic monk. He has a very deep spirituality in his soul.
He is a Catholic.
Is he in this life? I don't
He's
follow
in this
his
life.
religion.
He is a Catholic.
Okay, well, there you go.
He was a monk. That sounds pretty. I mean, that doesn't sound like a very exciting life.
Well, you know what? But it's a deep life. See, he actually, deep within, he has a real clear vision of right and wrong. I think he has a real honest nature, and that's also connected to his soul history.
One of the guys who's surging right now, Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
What was he?
Well, Ted Cruz in the past, he actually was a politician before. Okay, this is his.
Anyone we know?
No, he was unknown. He was more of a local politician back in the 1700s, founding of the United States. He was one of the early kind of people getting things going at a local level. But he's repeated this theme in this lifetime, but he's taken it to a bigger
It's
place.
a shame he doesn't know that because, there's so much talk about the Constitution and the founding. He could use that to his advantage if he was
Yeah, he could, and maybe he'll see this and look into that.
I hope so.
You see, I always say with past lives, inside we have all that knowledge. See, so if he can tap into that, he'll have an edge.
Maybe that's maybe why the Tea Party loves him so much. All right, Chris Christie.
Chris Christie. Now, he's one who I would absolutely say is one of the, and I'd hate to say this, he's a bit of a younger soul. Okay. Now, younger soul doesn't make him, ignorant or unintelligent, but it just means that he comes with kind of a maybe a little more naive vision in some way.
Interesting. Do you know what he did in his past life?
Yeah, in his past life, he actually was. He had one of his lives. He died very young. It was in the early 1900s. And he was involved with, he was like working for a company that did like newspapers, like press, but he wasn't like a big executive, he was just a worker. But had he lived longer in that life, he would have climbed the ladder and been a big like editor or, somebody prominent.
How many lives do the candidates typically have, or do people typically have?
Well, it depends. Everybody, it depends on what your soul journey is. Most people have at least that I'm encountering in this time period in history, at least 15 former lives.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, but older souls, I've met people have had 70 or 80 former lives.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's like too much. Like at some point, I'd be like, okay, I'm done. I just want no more lives. Rand Paul.
Rand Paul. Now, he's interesting. In his past life, I keep feeling that he was connected to the times of King Arthur. Yeah, he was part of King Arthur's band of knights. He definitely was a knight. He has also the warrior energy around him. So, yeah. And I feel like he's traveled over a lot of lifetimes also. He's an older soul.
Older soul.
Yeah.
His dad was kind of, strikes me as a bit of an older soul, too.
Around his father, yes, I would agree.
Who am I forgetting here? There's there's Ben Carson.
Yeah, Ben Carson. Well, he was part of the founding fathers also.
Was he?
He definitely was, yeah. He was in the 1700s. He may not have been one of the people that signed the Constitution, but he's definitely on the support teams of those people. So he's definitely got a vision for America. I feel of all the candidates, he's probably actually the oldest of the souls.
Very interesting stuff. All right. Does that have anything to do with his career as a brain surgeon?
It's interesting. I think he took that in this lifetime to understand the trappings of the workings of the mind. I think he's fascinated at the connection between body, mind, and spirit.
What about Hillary? What was she in past lives?
Yeah, Hillary. Wow. Now she's an interesting character.
Oh yeah.
She had one of her former lives. Now, I don't know if I should say this on TV, but she had a former life. She was actually a bartender. Yeah.
That's so funny because she played the bartender on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, she was like it was a skit, and she was
Okay.
spoofing herself, and she played a bartender. She did it so naturally that I totally believed that,
Okay.
that she was a bartender.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
What was she a good bartender?
She was a good bartender, yeah. And it was in the,
Did she
in the
drink a lot?
1800s. She did, yeah. She liked to party. She was good, and she was a female bartender. Which in the 1800s was unheard of practically. But that's where she was part of the Old West.
Female bartender, possibly the first female president. She breaks glass ceilings.
She does.
Is what she does. Bernie Sanders. What was Bernie Sanders in his past life?
Well, he's been a physician in one of his past lives. He definitely has healing energies around him. And interestingly, one of his lives, which was actually in the 1600s, he was a psychic.
Bernie Sanders was a psychic.
Bernie Sanders was a psychic, yeah.
Wow.
That's why he's so in touch with his inner self.
Are you more in touch with Bernie Sanders because he was a psychic in a past life?
I don't know. I do feel a connection with him. I feel like I know him, even though I haven't met him.
All right, so this is a fun question. What color pantsuit will Hillary Clinton wear on the night of the New Hampshire primary?
Oh, my goodness. She's going to wear blue.
You think blue?
Yeah, like navy blue.
American sense of power, sense of...
Solid, dependable navy blue.
All right. I think that's a good guess. I forgot to ask you.
Yeah.
What was one of Barack Obama's past lives? You must have a pretty good sense of that.
Yeah, Barack Obama. Well, one of his past lives was actually connected to science. He actually was a scientist in the 1920s. And he studied chemistry. He was very fascinated with chemicals and interactions between substances. So.
Before that, did he have any?
Yeah, he also had another life. He was actually part of the westward movement. When the settlers went westward in the mid-1800s, he was part of that. He was a rancher, actually.
He's a rancher.
He traveled in a covered wagon to the west and settled out in California.
Who do you see rising and becoming the standard bearer for the GOP?
I'm almost scared to say it, but I think we're going to I think we're really going to see, it's going to be tight, to be honest. I'm sitting on the fence on this one, but I want to really watch Ted Cruz. I feel he's going to be right up there. If he doesn't get it, he'll get it next time around.
Oh, okay. So you think he's there's it sounds like there's somebody else that you're sort of seeing in the shadows.
As much as everybody talks about Trump, I think that Trump, what's going to ultimately happen around him is that there's going to be a split in the party, and I don't think he'll get it. But then for a second person underneath, I think it's going to be Jeb Bush. I've always said that I don't see Jeb Bush as president, taking the presidential position on the ticket, but I do believe he'll be vice president. And I know people are shocked when I say that, but
Cruz Bush ticket. I think that would surprise just about everyone.
Yeah, we'll see.
But that's quite a prediction. If that prediction comes true, you're going to make millions of dollars. The Democrats, fewer of them. Who do you see?
Yeah, I think Hillary's going to take it, and I do see Bernie Sanders as the vice president nominee.
So you see a Clinton Sanders ticket?
I do, yeah.
Wow. Well, that would be very, very interesting because he's an avowed socialist, and a lot of people would be turned off by that. But
it's not going to hurt him because, he's so moderate, really. I don't think he comes off as a radical. And I think that the general public relates well to him.
Okay, so the big question, Who's going to win the presidency? Who's going to be the next president of the United States? Who do you see?
Well, I have to tell you, I think the Republicans are going to take it. Yeah, I think we're going to see Cruz and Bush.
You think Cruz will be the president of the United States?
I do.
And Jeb Bush will be the vice president of the United States come January 21st, 2017?
Yeah. See, I have a psychic theme in this life.
I actually appreciate you, because you knew obviously what I was going to ask you, but I appreciate for the audience letting me ask you the questions. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a job.
Well, there you go.
That would be upsetting to me. All right, Bob Hickman, I'm going to just say it, America's top political psychic.